Hello, everyone. We welcome you all in another Brain Auras episode. In today's discussion, we will talk about intellectual property rights and more about patents and why it is required. So, before we begin our today's session, let me give you a brief introduction about Brain Aura. We are a small team of experts from various academic and industrial backgrounds. Our services are cohesively designed for young PhD grads, academicians, researchers, and entrepreneurs. We provide services ranging from thesis writing support, research support, data analysis, skill development, and much more. Visit our website www.brainaura.com to know more about us. So, as I mentioned earlier, we will be discussing more about intellectual property rights. And for that session, today we have Ms. Megha Agrawal. So, Ms. Megha, welcome to our session today. And I hope we will have a great discussion regarding IPR.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you very much for the invitation.
Thank you for joining us. And before we start our Q&A session and ask you questions, I would like to give a brief introduction about you. So, Ms. Megha Agrawal, she is a government registered patent agent. She is a founder and designated partner of Intellectual Cooley LLP, which is an IP firm. She is Indian registered patent agent, guest faculty at Rajiv Gandhi Institute of Intellectual Property Management, Nagpur, and an impaneled faculty at Maharashtra Council of Entrepreneur Development. She has more than 4 years of experience in the field of intellectual property and have been awarded with Women Scientist Internship in IP Management by DST. In her career of IP, she received Budding Entrepreneur Award by RGN IIPN, Business Woman Influencer Award by We Women, Real Superwoman Award by FSIA, and 1000 Women Faces of Asia Award by Women Innovator. Apart from this, she is MSc in Mathematics and have more than 8 years of experience in the field of teaching and training at Mohta Science College, Nagpur, Institute of Science College, Nagpur, and various soft training skills institute. So, Ms. Megha, we are so fascinated with your achievements. So, I'm sure today we will have a very amazing session and we will get to learn a lot about IPR.
Yeah, sure.
So, to begin with, we would like to ask you the first question as what exactly are intellectual property rights?
Okay. Thank you for the introduction, Sheer. And first, starting with the topic that intellectual property rights, what are the intellectual property rights? So we'll divide the name itself to understand the definition. So intellectual property rights. The first is intellectual. Intellectual means whatever is created from your brain. So intellect means brain. Whatever you are creating through your brain or by your brain or from your brain, the product which is created is called as property. So that becomes your intellectual property. Now, when you create something and you get a right over it, this right is given by the government. So when you get a right over it, this property, then it becomes your intellectual property right. So this is the clear meaning of intellectual property right. Whatever you create from your intellect, that becomes your property. And when you get the right over it, that right can be exclusive right and it depends on what kind of right you want. So that we'll discuss in later questions. So when you get that right, you get your intellectual property right.
Okay. So, well, that's the definition. But what do you think why somebody would need an IPR?
Okay. So IPR helps you in uh, enhancing your business aspect if you are a startup. And if you are a researcher, then there are many aspects. So suppose a researcher wants to take like if he is doing some research in his area, and if he takes an IPR, so he will get a profile enhancement. Plus, he can have a new business or a new startup based on that research work. So nowadays, whenever you have a IPR, you get a stamp that your work is unique from the others. So
Yeah.
when you go for any project, like anything like for funding or something, if you show that you have a patent or an IPR, then it becomes easy for the person to understand that your technology is different. So this is how IPR is helping you. So this is how IPR is needed. Because if you want to go ahead with your research work, you need to prove others that this is unique. And
Yeah.
patent or IPR is one of the things that can give you a stamp for that.
Okay, that's actually I think highly needed in current scenario where we see so many innovations happening every other day. So Yeah, I mean, it is in need of the time. So, coming to our next common question, what exactly is a patent grant?
Okay. So a patent grant, like I said in IPR, what is the need of the IPR? So when you have a research work, you go ahead for a patent. So there are different types of IPR based on the work you are doing in your field. So suppose you are doing a scientific invention, then you need to take a patent over it, like a patent protection. But if you are starting a new company or a startup and you are giving a brand name to it, then it becomes a trademark. So you have to take a trademark protection. That is also one of the IPR.
Okay.
Similarly, if you're writing a one book, that is a new book, suppose research books or professors write books or novels, anything if you are writing, then that books comes into copyright. That is also one of the IPR. So there are 7 types of IPR based on the work, the category of the work, the protection is taken. So different categories, I told you like a few of them,
Yeah.
patent, copyright, trademark, and there are more. So similarly, when you come to patent, so patent is given for research works and it is granted by the government. It is granted to the applicant, and applicant is the person who is applying for the patent. It can be different from the person who has invented the invention, right?
Yeah.
So the person who is applying is the applicant. He gets the right over the patent, and it is given by the government of India. And there are some criteria to fulfill for the patent to get the grant. So there is a procedure, like there is a total legal and techno-legal procedure
Yeah.
wherein you have to provide some details to the government, and then government verifies it. There are some stages, and then once they verify all those things, and once you cross all those stages, then government gives you the grant for that patent.
Okay.
So
So,
grant is
yeah.
basically stamp. Yeah, the
Okay. Got
word
it.
grant means you got the stamp.
Okay. So, you had mentioned the different type of IPR. So, we would like to know then how many types of patent are there?
Okay. Yeah. So patent, basically there are not types of patent, but there
Okay.
are types of filing a patent. So when you have a research work, we ask the inventor how you want to proceed. So suppose sometimes like you develop a product, but you need some time to execute that product or to see how the product works. So you need
Okay.
working example. Basically, you want to see that whether actually that product works or not in the actual scenario. So you need some time, but you don't want to, like, once you start working on it, it may be disclosed to the public. So you don't want to disclose it before filing the patent. So we ask the inventor if he has done all the research work and he also has done the execution part of it, like the working examples also he has. Then we go with the complete specification. So there are 2 types: complete specification, complete patent filing, and provisional patent filing. So when you have complete data with working examples, you know that the product will definitely work for which you have developed that product. So then in that case, you go for complete specification. But if you think that you need some more time, but still you want to file, so
Yeah.
that in that case, you go for the provisional. So for provisional, you just have to give the data whatever you have, and the government will give you 1 year time to file
Okay.
the remaining data. That remaining data will be the working examples of your product.
Okay. So,
And
yeah, you had explained about the types. So, and we want to understand a bit more onto it. Like, there are so many, products are being created, designed, and so much of research is being happening these days because the technology has enhanced giving opportunity. But one of the common question that comes up is because there's so many people who are trying to file for a patent. But as per your experience and knowledge, who do you think should be the right person or who should be filing for the patent?
okay. So I feel that every person, every researcher who is doing some research in a scientific background, like
Yeah.
having a scientific background or technological background, should definitely go for a patent search, first patent search, and then for the patent filing. Because I believe even a small invention is considered as a patent, can be given as a patent by the patent office. So
Okay.
everyone who is from the research background or technological background should go for a patent filing, at least for a patent search, that whether his invention is patentable or not.
Okay. So,
Yeah.
well, yeah, that's very interesting to know. And we want to know, like, before filing the patent, how should one prepare the draft for it?
Okay. So drafting of a patent is a techno-legal document. So basically, we called in our like patent agent term that it is a techno-legal document. So I will suggest that if you wish to go by yourself without taking the help of any IPR professional or patent professional, then two things you should know. First is Patent Act. There is a Patent Act with all the legal aspects, with all the conditions, criterias, what is the what government wants from you, in what format they want, what are the other forms you need to file with your patent, and what if government argues later on, then what are the when objection comes, then how to reply over that. So there is a complete patent act in which all the sections are given how to tackle those things in the complete
Okay.
procedure of patent filing. So if you are aware of that patent act plus your invention, of course you will be aware, like technological area. If you have the combination of both of this, then you can go for the drafting by yourself.
Okay.
Otherwise, I will always recommend you should go with the professional help, because
Yeah.
even if you go with the filing, people think that you can file and there is nothing to do. But even if you file later on at the second, third, fourth stage, examiner will ask you to take the professional help, because
Okay.
there is a lot of difference between a common man drafting and a patent professional drafting.
Okay. So, yeah, that's a very interesting and valid point. And then, what do you think are the, essential criteria for filing the patent?
Yeah. So, as I said, in the Patent Act, there are many things written
Yeah.
about what could be the draft, what could be the format of drafting. But I will let you know about the basic criteria which a inventor should also know before filing a patent or before asking someone to go for a patent. So, these three criteria are novelty,
Okay.
non-obviousness, and industrial application. So whenever you have a research work, you should first determine that whether your research work is fulfilling these three criteria. And if in your opinion you feel that these three criteria are fulfilled, then like you don't need to ask a professional that whether I should go or not. I will being a patent professional, I am suggesting that you should always go if these three criteria are fulfilled in your research work. So just to give a short brief about these three criteria,
Yeah.
novelty. So
Okay.
novelty means whatever research work you have done, whatever research work, it should not be available in any format in anywhere, like anywhere it should not be available in any format. So it can be Google, it can be paper publication, it can be patent database, it can be some articles, any books, or any written references, anywhere it should not be available in any form anywhere. That means it is novel. So if you think that your invention is that unique, whatever you have created is that unique that it has not been mentioned anywhere in the Google databases or any databases, then it is novel.
Okay.
Second, non-obvious. So non-obvious, suppose you are from the field of, so maybe I should ask you only, what field you belong to, Sheil? What is your field of invention? Like
Digital marketing
technology.
and design.
Okay, so design and digital marketing. So
Yes.
suppose you are doing something new in digital marketing. You have developed some app so that people who are like me, who don't know much about digital marketing, they
Yeah.
don't need any help, and they can just do it through that app. The app will do everything. You just have to put the criteria in that okay, I want daily something in my social media, daily post in my social media. Like that, I just put the input, and then that app will work automatically.
Yeah.
Now, being a digital marketer, you did that. But a person who is also skilled in digital marketing, since I don't know anything about digital marketing,
Yeah.
so I will see that okay, you have developed an app. For me, it will be very unique. But a
Okay.
person who already knows about digital marketing, if he sees your app and if he learns about your app and see that whatever work you have done in that and whatever unique thing has been done by you in that app, and
Mhm.
if he feels that your work is not obvious,
Okay.
then your work is not obvious. Then
Okay.
it will be considered as non-obvious. So non-obvious means a person who is skilled in your art, that is digital marketing.
Yeah.
If he feels that it is not obvious, then it is not obvious. because for me it will be, because I am not a digital marketer person and I don't know what is like what can be very obvious in your field. So I will, whatever you will say, I will say, oh yeah, that is very unique, you should go for a patent. But a
Okay.
person who is from your field, he will know that, oh, this is just a combination of like, if a like being a homemaker, everyone like women know that what are the key points in cooking. So
Yeah.
if you tell your mother that, okay, instead of sugar you use like jaggery, they will say, oh, that is very obvious. Both have
Yeah.
that same property, right? So that
Exactly.
is very obvious. So same way, if a person skilled in the art says, oh, that is very obvious, you can use that instead of that, or you can do the mixture of those both those things and you can use that. So that way. So if a person skilled in the art feels that, oh, he has done something unique which I never thought of, that is not obvious to a person of that technology,
True.
then it is considered as non-obvious. And the third is industrial application, that is whatever technological area or product you are, technological product or method you are selling or going for a patent, it should be saleable in the market. It should
Hmm.
have an industrial applicability. Means
Yeah.
it should not be like something which has to be kept in the locker. Patent office don't want that. Patent office want something which can be commercialized.
True.
So your product should have a commercial value. Then only you can go for a patent. So these three criteria, if you feel that your research work is like fulfilling, then you should definitely go for a patent.
Okay. I mean, they sound very simple, but still, I
Yeah.
think the implementation seems very complex.
Yeah, believe me, it is
Yeah.
not that complex.
Yeah.
So
Okay. That's really interesting. I'm so happy to learn about it. But
yeah.
I still have one very crucial question regarding the patent. So there are so many people, who are applying for patent, but there are instances where it gets cancelled or if they're rejected. So in that
Hmm.
scenario, but the person feels their product is actually worth for a patent, then what the person should do in this aspect?
Okay, yeah. So this is very true that out of 10 patents, only two or three is granted. Nowadays, the ratio has a good one because people are more going with the professionals.
Yeah.
So this is basically, I will say that patent office says that patent is less about the research and more about the writing skills.
Okay.
So yeah,
Wow.
so this is like because if you are presenting your research in a
Yeah.
better way, like
Hmm.
it should be presented in a way that the patent office asks for. They are asking in some format. So even if a good research written in a bad manner or in a bad format or not in a proper way, then it is not considered as a good patent, and that is why patent office rejects it. So if
Okay.
someone feels that it has been cancelled, though his idea was unique, that means he has not taken the proper guidance from the professional. Or if
Okay.
he has taken, then the professional was not the correct person. Like
Oh,
maybe he's
okay.
not very much professional, because that is why people choose different attorneys, and then they get to know that, okay, like these attorneys get highest rates of grants and all. So this is because the this professional skills of writing the patent is different with different people. Even I am a patent agent, but there are 10 more patent agents in Nagpur.
Yeah.
But I will say that the skills or the way we write is totally different from the others, because we have learned from some other person and we have learned from some other institute and they have learned from someone else. And
Yeah.
patent agent doesn't ask for some skills. Patent agent exam, which we all have given commonly, doesn't
Hmm.
ask for that skills. They basically ask for the legal aspects of the patent agent exam. So that all we know, but how we have to present, that we have learned by ourselves.
Okay.
So
So,
that
yeah.
is how it differs. Yeah,
So finding the right agent is equally important, like as
to get the
filing.
grant.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. True.
exactly.
That's a very, I think, valid point here. So
Yeah.
one of the common question, I think, across domains, like when it comes to copywriting and everything, people have been asking about the time validity of it. So coming back to our common point, like basic point, so what is the validity of a patent, like for how many years it's considered as a patent?
Okay. So basically, the validity or the duration differs for different type of IPR. So
Okay.
if you are talking about copyright, it will be different. For a trademark,
Yeah.
it is different. For a patent, it is different. So for a patent, it is 20 years.
Okay.
20 years from the date of filing. So suppose today you are filing. Maybe you are not getting the grant for next 4 years, but your time starts from now, from 2021 to
Okay.
2041. Your
Oh,
uh,
okay.
duration will be. So it is for 20 years.
Okay. So,
Yeah.
so the moment
Uh,
we like apply for the patent starts from that time itself?
yes, yes. So today, if your date of filing, like not with me, so today you are talking to me, but there will be some procedures between us. I will be drafting filing. The
Yeah.
day I will say that I have filed the patent in the patent office database,
Okay.
that means you got the filing date. They will write in your receipt that this is the filing date, this is the title, this is the applicant, and this is the inventor. And that will be final for next 20 years.
Wow, that's very interesting. So, but 20 years sounds to be a very short span of time in current scenario. So, what happens like once the patent gets expired after 20 years?
Yeah. So basically, why this 20 years is given is because so that whatever a person is putting some efforts, like if you have put some efforts, money in your research work,
Yeah.
then that should be returned back to you in this 20 years, giving
Okay.
more time to you. Like if I'm giving again, like after 20 years, if you reapply for your patent, that means I am abiding other people, I am restricting other people to use your product without your permission. So
Okay.
you may, like suppose you live for next 50 years. So you will
Hmm.
be continuing your patent, and me being a researcher or me being a your counterpart, suppose you have developed a chip for a mobile phone and
Yeah.
I am the manufacturer of the mobile. So
Hmm.
for next 20 years, I have to pay you for that chip. The royalty amount I have to pay you for that chip. So
Okay.
for 20 years, it is fine. Again, if you reapply and patent is granted to you, that means for my whole life, I have to pay you that money, like royalty is to be paid. That means you are enjoying that monopoly for your whole life, right?
Okay. Yeah.
So this will not encourage other researchers. So me again a researcher and also the manufacturer, I won't think of doing something else in that chip thing. Like I won't do any technological work in your domain because you have taken the monopoly of it. I won't think that because I know that you will only get the grant for that patent. So I won't think that okay, I also have to work in that area. But what happens if 20, after 20 years that
Yeah.
grant is like taken from you, like it is only valid till 20 years. After 20 years it is free for the public, it is free for everyone, they will not
Okay.
pay you anything. So that means I being a researcher, I can just use your product for my research work without paying you any money. I can also use your work for manufacturing that same device, that same phone. Suppose I was paying you 100 rupees for that chip earlier.
Yeah.
Now I can develop that product in my own company that may cost me only 50 rupees, right?
Okay.
But I was paying you 100 rupees. So that
Okay.
is why my phone cost was increasing earlier for the 20 years. But now I am paying only 50 rupees for that chip in my own company. So this is reducing the cost of my phone. So basically, when you reduce, like when you end the monopoly, the price of the product also decreases, and
Okay.
the person who like because you have invented, you got the amount whatever royalty you should get in your 20 years. That was your efforts in your 20 years. So
Yeah.
you got whatever you have put efforts or money in your product that you got the return. But other people, so you know about generic medicines. So how generic medicines work? It is because of this 20 years things only. After
Okay.
20 years, you can develop that medicine, same medicines at the very low cost. That is why we are getting generic medicine at least like around 1/10 of the price.
Okay.
Otherwise, in India, it was not possible
Yeah.
to like for a poor person to get that medicine,
Okay.
like because they are so costly, and most of the
True.
medicines are from the foreign, like
Yeah.
applicants are foreigners, so
Yeah.
they charge heavily. And like cancers and cancer medicines which are being developed now, so you say that 4 lakh per medicine.
Wow.
So once 20 years is being lapsed, that time period is lapsed, a person in India will develop that product in a generic form, and that may be in 4,000 only. That may be sold in 4,000 only. So this is why it is necessary to end that period of monopoly.
Okay, that's a very interesting point. So I understand the person is not eligible to apply for the patent after 20 years.
Yes,
So as
yes,
to
actually.
stop the monopoly of it and just being one person or a industry centric product. So,
Yes,
it
yes,
becomes available for everyone, for the masses to use. So
Yes,
yeah, I think that's how all the entire technology and innovation has happened. Like we see about 20 years ago, mobile phones used to be luxury, but now
yes,
we see everyone is able to connect with mobile phone,
yes,
interact. So yeah, I think it's a very interesting point. Like the technology should actually be enjoyed by the masses also, not just certain specific people. So quite insightful actually.
yeah.
And that's fascinating. So I think we will be wrapping up our session here. But before we close the session, I would like to know from your experiences and the kind of interactions you have had over the years. So, what is the advice you would like to give to the young researchers, entrepreneurs, and innovators, like why they should get an IPR for their product or research?
Okay, yeah. So this is a very interesting question, and actually, this is one of the questions which I always wanted to deliver through some medium to all the people, because in small cities, like I stay in Nagpur, and there are many other cities with which our company is associated. So I have seen like what researchers, young researchers, entrepreneurs, or innovators,
Yeah.
whomsoever, what they feel about IPR is they have some myths. First is IPR is very costly.
Hmm.
Second, why I have to take protection? Why I have to put restriction over others for using my product? Third, they feel that like going into this procedure will take their time, efforts, and this is not needed. So, answering this or removing this myths, I want to answer them that first is IPR is very much needed to every person. Like I'm saying, every person, be he's like be maybe he's from scientific or non-scientific background. Because if he is from the scientific background, he will definitely have some research work done in his lifetime. So for that, he needs to take an IPR professional, like advice from an IPR professional, whether that work is patentable or not, because taking an advice never cost you anything, and if
Yeah.
someone calls you, you can just message on this like podcast or comment on this podcast also, I will answer. Because just to know that whether it is patentable or not, this is your right. I will say
Yeah.
this is your birthright, that you should know that whatever you are creating, is it patentable or not, or whether it can be taken as an IPR protection or not. So even if you are a business person, if you are going for a startup and you have like created some new name, innovative name, then also you should always go for a trademark, because people feel that it is not important, but it is very important in a long term. Even in if you want to apply for a MCA registration or LLP registration, they ask to get a trademark done so that your name remains unique, because your name defines everything in a business. Once you say that intellectual coolie or a Brenora, people have a mindset. People know that what is the like quality of the work they are providing. Immediately something comes in their mind, okay, that person is delivering this service in that organization, so that is good. So this is how a name works for a startup. So that is why you should always go for a trademark if you are going for a startup. If you have developed some new designs, if you are a creative person, if you are doing some designing work, like designing means redesigning whatever is available, suppose bottles, attractive watches. So few people have interest in this, that redesigning the things and making it more attractive, because that has a lot of commercial value behind it. So if you are also doing that, then also you should consult a person from IP department, that how I can take the protection for the design.
Yeah.
And also if you are writing some books or some poems or some stories, or going for anything, like even writing a thesis is an art. So even if you are doing that, if you are doing some good videos, making some good videos for which you are getting a good like or number of likes, then also you should go for a copyright. So this is why IPR is needed. Second, it is very costly. This is how they feel that this is very costly. So believe me, whatever amount you will be paying for any IPR in 1 month or for next 1 year from your date of filing, will be only 1/10 of the amount you will be getting out of your IPR. So
Okay.
IPR is basically made by the patent office to get the output of your hard work. It is not to suck the output or suck
Yeah.
something from you. So if you are paying 10,000, believe me, if you are going in the right direction of the commercialization, if you know you have a good product, then you will get the benefit of at least 1 lakh rupees, 10,000 rupees from your product. So this is how IPR works. And third, I said that people feel that it is not important. So nowadays, like for even for researchers background, I'm saying for researchers,
Yeah.
uh, maintaining a portfolio with a patent, number of patents filed is very important.
Hmm.
Earlier, it was how many papers you have published in
Okay.
a journal. Nowadays, it is how many patents you have filed.
Yeah.
So, more, like I will say, 80% of my clientage is from the professors only, because now they know that filing a patent will only help them to grade up themselves in academic things, like maybe uh, promotion or something like that. So,
Yeah.
only that helps them, not papers. So, people have started doing that. But those who are not aware of this, young researchers especially, who don't know that this is required, they should go. And you should not, because you are young and you don't know that how to go, then find these small mediums like this podcast or some social media things where people post about IPR. Just message them that how I can get the help, and try. Don't delay this thing, because patents and any IPR have a time limit to file also. The way they are giving the validity, same way there is a time limit to file also. After 10 years of your work, you cannot say that I want a patent on my 10 years before work. It should be filed as immediately as possible. Once it is in the public domain, you cannot file a patent or take an IPR over it. So this is also one of the important points which people don't know. So whenever you create, before disclosing it to someone, you should go for an IPR protection. So this is how it is important. Like it plays an important role in your academics or research field,
Yeah.
or your business line.
Okay. So, well, that's a very interesting and valid suggestion. So, I think all our listeners who are paying attention, they will definitely will get a deeper insight into it. So, thank you, Miss Mega, for today's session, and we are very happy to have you on board. And we got to learn a lot from your experience and the information that you had shared. So, thank you once again for joining us today on our session.
Yeah, thank you very much for inviting, because this is really a very exciting session for me as well, because giving this inputs to someone who is young and who is a researcher is actually my pleasure.
That's awesome. And to all our listeners out there who are young researchers or an experienced researcher or an entrepreneur or an innovator, wherever you are listening to this, and if you want to learn more about IPR or you're planning to file for one, you can always email us at info@brainaura.com. You can always reach out to us on different social media platforms, be it LinkedIn, Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. So the handle for that will be at the Brain Aura. And you can always visit our website, brainaura.com. Reach us out from there also. And we will help you out. We have a brilliant team and we will absolutely help you out with your IPR concerns. So for today, thank you so much and tune into the next week for another session of amazing Brain Aura podcast. Thank you and have a great day.